We begin with this story this weekend. Newly elected ANC leaders in KwaZulu-Natal are to visit former President Jacob Zuma at his home in Nkandla. They're doing so a month after being elected at the party's provincial conference. Zuma, who's on medical parole, still faces corruption charges linked to the arms deal. You'll remember that last month, the new ANC KZN top 5 visited former President Thabo Mbeki. And for more on the story, we've got Siphamandla Goge, who is following developments around this visit. So, Sipa, what is the ANC hoping to get out of a meeting with a former president who's been heavily criticized in having a hand in alleged corruption activities in the country?
They say his political wisdom is what they are looking for. They want guidance from him, according to the provincial secretary of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, Nkandla. They want to tap into former President Jacob Zuma's vast experience in terms of politics, but also governance. Remember, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal is a governing party, and they say former President Jacob Zuma has led the ANC in this province of KwaZulu-Natal during difficult times, and now they are of the view that as they head to 2024, they need his advice on how to navigate around difficult political issues and the difficult political terrain in KwaZulu-Natal. The meeting is underway. The officials of the ANC, that being the chairperson, Siboniso Duma, Deputy Chairperson Noma Kukusmelane, Provincial Secretary Nkandla, Deputy Provincial Secretary Sipho Muga, as well as Provincial Treasurer Dr. Ntuchuko Mahlaba, are inside meeting with former President Jacob Zuma. That is part one of today's political activities in Nkandla. Part two will commence around 2 o'clock when 11 regions of the ANC, represented by the officials of those regions, will come here and meet with the former president. So basically, the better part of the afternoon will be about those political engagements here, but also the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has invited the Provincial Working Committee of the governing party to come and meet with the former president. They say they have planned this visit for a very long time. Now that they have been able to find time working out their political diaries, they are meeting with the former president. It's not for the first time that they are meeting with the former leader of the ANC. Last month, they visited former President Thabo Mbeki in Johannesburg. They say they will continue to meet with other leaders of the ANC, including former Deputy President Nkandla. They are saying they want to ensure that they bring them on board as they will be campaigning for 2024. But as the newly elected leadership, they felt that it is necessary to come and formally introduce themselves to the former president, ask for his advice, but most importantly, to pledge their support to him. The conference of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal resolved to continue supporting the former president, who's facing legal battles. His fraud and corruption trial is set to resume in Pietermaritzburg after all the appeals processes have been exhausted. Remember, the matter still needs to be decided by the highest court in the land, and that is the issue whereby the former president is appealing a decision not to remove Billy Downer as the state lead prosecutor in that matter that is before the High Court sitting in Pietermaritzburg. So the ANC leadership has said that they will continue to support the former president. They have been heavily criticized by some members of the ANC, NEC and general members who have said, well, it doesn't send a good message to go and visit someone who's facing fraud and corruption charges. We do know that the former president is out on parole. So their critics are saying this is not in a good light. It will not portray the ANC in a good state. But I guess they are defending that by saying, well, we have said before we'll visit former ANC presidents. We have visited former President Thabo Mbeki. People did not raise issues. Why are they raising them now? So I guess that's how they are defending it. They say they have planned this visit for a very long time. Today they are actioning it. Let's listen to Nkandla explaining about their purpose.
You will know that President Zuma, it's a former president of the ANC, he's a former head of state, but he's got a lot of experience from the underground structures of the ANC, from exile experience, and then to work with all stakeholders in society, various political parties. You remember when he dealt with the issues of bringing peace to KwaZulu-Natal, working with people who are prominent, like Dr. Nelson Mandela, working with Ushenge, Nkandla Phindangene. They were able to say, no, let's put beyond the interests of our political parties because the country needs us now. We need to put the past behind us, and they were able to sit down as leaders, and then they bring peace about in KwaZulu-Natal. Today we are here in Nkandla, we are living in a free country, in a free province because of their efforts. They want to get all those things and then tell us how to navigate with those complex situations, because those things are not easy. Then as a new leadership, as a young generation, we ought to temper from that wisdom, and it's important for us.
And then, of course, issues around the legacy created and left behind by the former president are important in these conversations where they ask for wisdom, because there are questions about whether it is an admirable or honorable legacy that he's left behind at the party.
According to the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, they are of the view that his legacy needs to be protected. They say he has left behind a good legacy for the ANC, and during his tenure or period as the President of the Republic of South Africa. Hence, the Provincial Conference of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal resolved to continue supporting but preserving his legacy as the former head of state and as the former president of the ANC. They say during his administration, there were too many positive gains that were registered in the country, and within the ANC, they say he was able to grow the membership base of the ANC. Hence, the conference resolved to continue supporting him and his legacy. Peggy Mtolo explains.
No, it's not about his legacy not being preserved. You remember in 2012, the ANC adopted a program where we're going around all over the country and preserving the legacy of all ANC former presidents. It's a continuation of that program. And then you'd know that when he came into government in 2009, one of the massive things he did, President Zuma's administration, he spent about 1 trillion in infrastructure development, focusing on rural development. He rolled out a massive ARV program. He built 2 universities within a short space of time. He increased the NSFAS funding around, I think, from around 3 billion to 15 billion, the access to higher education. Then it's a legacy that it can. But beyond that, you remember he served 10 years in Robben Island, fighting for the people of South Africa, bringing about justice to our country. And he left the country. He really did everything for us to be free today.